Harold Green Jewish Theatre Company and Artists in Residence acknowledge our presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations.
The area known as Takaranto has been caretaken by the Anishinaabeg Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat.
It is now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation.
The territory is subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region.
I was really inspired, and so I'm really glad there was this opportunity.
There's one other Jewish girl my age that I know of that I grew up with in Saskatoon. So the idea that there's Jewish theater companies blows my mind. So I've been writing this year for like my first try at it. And then this seemed like a really good opportunity to try that out.
I had a lot of fun writing the monologue.
I find that like my Jewish identity goes all the way back to when I first saw Hannah's Suitcase at Young People's Theater in like 3rd grade at USDS. If you know, you know. And for me, it's one and the same. Like my art and my approach to religion and humanity and spirituality, it's just all one.
I'm spending all day on Zoom with kids, with young people. So it's very funny to see what they're saying all the time and like the way they think about things, and that sort of informed the monologue.
I thought, oh, what a perfect way to submit this weird identity crisis rant that is labeled untitled document on my desktop. So this was a good place.
I'm an actor and writer, so a lot of my work, when I write specifically as well, pertains to Judaism and my Judaism.
Meandering thoughts I've had about, working in the comedy community and working in the Jewish community and the Jewish comedy community, and a lot of big questions I've been asking myself recently, and how it's all kind of reconciling with both and negotiating in both spaces.
I kind of feel rejected from a lot of circles that aren't specifically Jewish from the intro.
Having the idea of what I related to in Judaism and what I thought Judaism was, and then people who know next to nothing about Judaism having their opinions of like, oh no, Jewish people aren't like that. You're not like that. You're a good Jew, like things like that.
And so when I started to write the monologue, I actually thought that I might not be able to write it because I didn't want it to be negative. And I had a lot of negative feelings, to be 100% truthful. And so I had to like get really quiet with myself and think about the things for me that are a celebration and like celebrating through it.
I want the art that I make to be something that similarly, is a way to laugh when things are bad, and when people are othered, but also a way to say, hey, life sucks for a lot of people. Let's like band together, eat something.
Getting like the facts of memory, and whether like if that's important or not, or if that's really not what matters. But I think as like generations are passed on and those things change over time, what does that mean for the stories?
And there was kind of two things that I connected to be able to write my monologue. And one was just my grandparents, with my amazing Jewish grandparents. I just really remembered what it was like to grow up and to have Friday night dinner every single Friday for 14 years.
Sort of the ever-changing perspective and relationship to what it means to be Jewish as we grow up, as we learn more about the world, even as the world changes around us. Traditions that we embrace, traditions that we reject.
People are really looking for easy, definable, crystallized answers. And I feel like, especially coming at activism and trying to be an ally from a Jewish perspective, I feel like it's important now more than ever that we say there's not one answer.
I was so grateful for the opportunity to write this because it was actually very healing. So
well, we're all grateful that you also took the time to write in and submit, because I think we have 10 wonderful finalists that we're all thrilled with, because we could have kept on talking for hours. And I think it's,
yes.
I think for David and I, who want to expand our horizons with the younger voice, I think we got a great insight of the beauty and the brilliance of a generation that we don't see very often.
You're coming from across Canada, all these different places, different stories, and you're bringing such a wealth of knowledge and history and information. So I feel very grateful. And I look forward to next week. I look forward to you all seeing each other's work.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, and welcome to Unravel, a virtual monologue slam competition. My name is David Eisner.
And I'm Avery Saltzman, and we're the co-founders and co-artistic directors of the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company.
I'm Olivia Daniels.
And I'm Jeremy Ferdman.
And we are the co-founders and co-artistic directors of Artists in Residence. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
When David and Avery first approached us about working together, we enthusiastically agreed, and immediately, the four of us began brainstorming. With our company's goal of creating community-based theatrical events,
And our commitment to telling Jewish stories, we coalesced around the idea of exploring Jewish identity.
So a nationwide open call invited young Canadians to share their thoughts with us in the form of an original monologue.
We were absolutely overwhelmed by the incredible submissions we received, all of them poignantly written and beautifully performed.
and what you will see tonight are just 10 of those wonderful original pieces inspired by the topic of Jewish identity. Each one as unique and special as an individual thread in a woven tapestry of Jewish history.
And as we unweave, unwind, and unravel these threads, we discover the diversity of perspectives that comprise our shared Jewish story.
Now, Unravel is the inaugural event presented by the Barlin-Daniels Emerging Artists Initiative. It's a new leg of the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company that is devoted to supporting a new generation of theater artists, creating work that is reflective of the modern Jewish experience. You'll hear more about the initiative later this evening.
So before we begin, we want to take a moment to acknowledge our special guest judges who had the very tough job of narrowing down these 10 wonderful submissions to just 3 finalists. A huge thank you to Jamie Ellman, Ellie Barlin-Daniels, Rachel Dratch, and Ari Weinberg.
These 4 individuals carefully combed through the videos of the 10 finalists and offered their invaluable feedback. Towards the end of the broadcast, we will announce the top 3 as chosen by our judges.
And next, we turn it to you, our audience, to vote upon the winner of the competition. Third place will receive $100, second place will receive $250, and our first place winner will receive $500.
And the final 3 videos will be posted on the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company website starting tomorrow. Check it out, rewatch the finalists, and cast your vote. Voting will remain open until 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, May 25th. And our winners will be announced in a live broadcast on May 26th.
So we thank you for joining us tonight, and we are beyond excited to introduce these 10 wonderful young artists and their wonderful work. So without further ado, we present Unravel, a virtual monologue slam competition.
Hi, my name is Jenna Barenbaum. I'm an actor and writer from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan on Treaty 6 territory. I applied for the Unravel Monologue Slam Competition because I think I'm still learning what it really means to be Jewish, and that some rules don't need to be followed. Enjoy. When my grandma died, she got really hot, suddenly kicking the covers off of her and starting to sweat. I wasn't there, but my uncle told me when he picked me up from the airport the next day. Jewish funerals happen faster than you can process. I stood in her apartment in a black dress. I put on her gold earrings and leather boots and cried. The rabbi told me only men could be pallbearers. I told him I didn't care. Some rules in Judaism are stupid. This was a stupid rule. I carry her. People will know you're Jewish before you tell them, my dad said, raised in a world in fear and celebration of oneself. In elementary school, the grade above me watched The Pianist. Afterwards, they hugged me, cried, and apologized. I carry her. When I was 12, my best friend offered up her basement for me to hide in. I think I said thanks. That did not come up again. This is my friend Jenna. She's Jewish, was my standard introduction for my childhood life. My dad was right. People always knew before I told them. My friend's grandma told me she was surprised my nose looked so normal. I think I said thanks. That also did not come up again. I carry her. My grandparents got married because they were both Jewish. It wasn't reason enough. I remember him swearing at her in the back of a white van. I was 8. He sits in uncomfortable silence now, and I carry her. Before my grandma died, she confessed to me that her first love was a Christian pilot. They would write each other love letters. If their love and my life are mutually exclusive, I would like to give her a lifetime of romance with that Christian pilot. Being Jewish was not worth her happiness. Jews should marry Jews, another stupid rule. I carry her. I divide my Judaism into religious and cultural. I learned Hebrew phonetically in Hebrew school. I never actually knew the words I was saying. One day I read the English translation and disagreed completely. I abandon the religious and cling to the cultural. I think it's a loophole, but I don't know how to fit in otherwise. It strikes me that I am the only Jewish woman in my entire family. I don't have any kids. My heart half breaks. Does the line die with me? Forever the youngest at the Passover table. Does the line die with me? I set her down. It's raining. The weight of the Jewish legacy weighs heavy on my shoulders. Why on all other nights was she here, but not this night? You're not supposed to leave flowers at Jewish graves. Another stupid rule. Tulips were her favorite. I cover her in them.
Hi, my name is Anna Binder. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I am an actor, writer, and often accidental comedian, and I wrote to Unraveled and applied because I like having a think on all of these interconnecting identities that I have and how they mesh with my Jewish identity. And I hope that you have a good think on the identities that mean a lot to you, too. Thank you.
Whether you think the Torah is a bedtime story, advising your worldview, your morals, or a springboard for heated arguments, once you disagreed with me, you are with me. Judaism is a culture of disagreement. We argue, belabor the point, embrace the breaking point, but break the coffee, sitting down with these people we just tore strips into. Encourage children who know how to ask a few too many questions too, like, what happened to you? My legs fell out from under me, perhaps not entirely literally, but suddenly no more training for running club. Forget training for the half marathon. I thought I was born to run. My family lives because historically we've run, but suddenly no more climbing, sprawling, kidding around of all sorts is done. And for the child, unprepared to fight my body, who asks what all this meant, came the gossip. A weird sort of love, worry, and whisper, and I do not know what words were said about me, but suddenly the whole school knew. Suddenly the whole shul knew. Suddenly 3 wheelchairs were offered for me too. I had to fall for them to catch me. More hands than mouths were there to startle me. When the elevator broke down, they carried me up. Literally. 4 floors, for yours, for mine, for all of us. They pushed me up. They raised me up. Community. I can laugh in the face of adversity. Could be raised to laugh in the face of a hobbling diversity, but we're cripple punk, not cripples. A little punch drunk, but not crippled. Stranger in a strange land, something magical happens when we're lost. Find the nearest synagogue. They'll find an open table. I have been the weirdo in the room. The stranger in a strange town, but people that I did not know invited me into their home. Invited me as family. And I was not strange there. But to be clear, I am queer here. Queer on all levels. You may think that's too many levels. I also think that's too many levels. These days I am in a perpetual state of reaffirming all of my levels as coming out as gay, yes, Jewish, yes, visibly and visibly disabled. I stress I am tired of putting rumors to rest. And I'd like to throw out a lifetime of coming out. I'd like to throw away a need to shout, keeping me stranger when you ask, no doubt. But when I feel too queer, I look for those hands that dare to be sincere. Despite history's best efforts, these hands are still here. We are still here. But what if I still do not perfectly fit, my family of strangers is familiar being othered. Queer is comfortable. I don't fall alone. I am diaspora. I am a thumbtacked roadmap riddled with holes, all of the places my family couldn't fit, all of the spaces I couldn't fit, all of the spaces I am now peering through. No matter how vividly we may disagree, I will still catch you and you will still catch me.
Hi, my name is Ori Black and I'm based in Toronto. I applied to Unravel because I wanted the opportunity to be able to share my Jewish perspective and my experience with gatekeeping within the Jewish community. We live in a world full of multitudes and nuance, and not one experience is the same. And that's something that I feel should be embraced, especially within Judaism. So, thank you for giving me the space to share. I've already told you I still don't know why I'm here. I've told you who I am. Can you let me through? Let me through, please. Okay, you want to do this again? Sure. My name is Ori. My name is Ori Black. I was born on March 20. I was born on the Hebrew year of 5757. I'm a 24-year-old French-Canadian Jew. Now, can I please... I said I'm a 24-year-old French-Canadian Jew. And to be quite honest, I don't understand why this is any of your concern. No, don't you dare interrupt me. It's because of situations like these that I don't always feel Jewish enough. I don't feel like I can meet the expectations that are set upon me. Okay? I pray once in a blue moon, I don't keep kosher, and I barely speak Hebrew. Is that what you want to hear? Will that get me through? Okay, I can divulge more. My mom converted to Judaism. She spent so much time learning, gone out of her way to embrace the faith and its customs like she'd known them her whole life, just so that I could grow up Jewish. Shouldn't that mean something? Shouldn't that be welcomed? Celebrated? So then why am I always met with the question of my legitimacy? Buddy, let me tell you something. 6 days before my bar mitzvah, I found out I learned the wrong Torah portion. I spent 9 months learning Parashat Emor when I should have been learning Bahar. So you want to know what I did? I spent the first 3 days learning the correct Torah portion, the 4th day puking my brains out because of a stomach flu, the 5th day recovering, and on the 6th day, I read from the Torah. Flawlessly, might I add. I also went to Jewish summer camp, and I'm 24 years old, and I've been saying the 4 questions at Passover ever since I could speak. Yet here I still am prevented from crossing because of people like you. I've got a question for you. איך היהודי הזה שונה מהיהודים האחרים? How is this Jew different from all other Jews? The answer? That shouldn't fucking matter. A Jew is a Jew is a Jew is a Jew. I'm just trying to claim my Judaism. Let me through.
Hi everyone, my name is Naomi Gutman. I'm a Belgian actress based in Toronto, Ontario. And I first applied to Unravel because I thought it was a great opportunity to express my Jewish identity through the mediums that I know most, which are acting and writing. I wanted to showcase a story that is deeply personal to me, while at the same time universal enough for everyone to relate to. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. I first grasped that I was Jewish when somebody hated me for it. I was 10 years old, and my parents had brought me to a day camp where I was to spend my summer. Now, every day I pleaded with them not to bring me there, but every day they did because I couldn't give a specific reason. See, the thing is, when you experience racism as a child, you just don't. I just didn't have the words to explain it. Because frankly, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand why this 9-year-old boy had taken it upon himself to turn everyone at the camp against me because I was Jewish. So there I was, sitting at the cookie making table by myself while all the other kids were sitting at another. There I was with the friend I had made on the first day just didn't speak to me anymore. And there I was, standing in my corner, while all the kids who passed by spat dirty Jew on my face. I couldn't go to the camp counselor. It was the boy's big sister. I felt trapped. So where was I supposed to go from there? How was I supposed to be proud of my ethnicity when it was the root of my troubles? The truth is, I rejected my Jewish identity for so long. I felt it was a handicap, and I just didn't want anything to do with it. That is until I needed it. See, I couldn't enter Canada without the promise of a job here, and it had been 1 year since I'd seen my boyfriend, who lived in Toronto. Now I looked and looked for a job for months without finding anything. Finally, I got an offer from a Jewish organization. My dad's rabbi, who was in Belgium, knew another rabbi who was in Montreal, who knew another rabbi who was in Toronto, whose wife had a Jewish school. Now talk about a web of connections. Now, if you'd asked me last year, or I'd see myself now, I would have never said I work at a Jewish school and community center. I kid you not. Me who is disgusted, revolted by a part of my own identity. I couldn't even fathom ever being affiliated with my own people. I was working at a Jewish school. I was taking care of Jewish children. I was singing Jewish songs to them. I was reading them Jewish stories, and I was making challah with them every Friday. In times of desperation, they showed up for me in ways that no community ever had. I realized I can't just dissociate from this intrinsic part of me just because some people feel we don't deserve to live. I now see the wonders of being Jewish. We are resilient. We are generous. We're inimitable. We're a bit crazy sometimes. But we sure as hell ain't dirty.
Hi, my name is Amanda Friedman. I am from Toronto, and I decided to apply for Unravel because my Jewish identity is so strongly tied to my work as an artist, and I was so excited for an opportunity to reflect on my Jewish identity through a creative piece. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope you enjoy my monologue. Hey Zadie Love, it's been a while. Bobby's not doing too well. She's starting to forget. So I'm writing down everything she says. I got off the phone with her this morning, and she told me that in a Jewish home, you never run out of tuna fish or ketchup. At least not together, of course. Here she is at 92 years old, making sure that I understand the importance of tuna fish and ketchup for making a Jewish home. And you're not going to believe what she did after Passover this year. She donated her leftover boxes of matzah to the church on 81st for communion. I'm a child of the Depression. God forbid I throw anything away. She loves to say that. Now there are plot holes in the story she tells. Like when Jacques died, she told me that you and him were friends from the time you were 5 years old, which is impossible because you didn't escape from Frankfurt to Brussels until you were 10 years old in 1934. And I know that the dates and the details aren't what's important, but it feels like getting them wrong fractures some delicate matter holding the memories of our family history intact. What if I tell my grandchildren that you fought on the wrong beach on D-Day? What if I forget to tell them that you spoke 7 languages by the time your family escaped to Morristown, New Jersey in 1938? Or was it Patterson? How can I remember? When all I have are other people's flimsy memories of you. How could you spend so many years sneaking salami slices up your sleeves and hiding them from Bubby, only for your heart to die out on you too young? How could you not take care of yourself long enough so that your 10 grandchildren would at least know the sound of your voice instead of speaking to a tombstone? I'm not ready to talk to Bubby like this.
Hello, I'm Fanny Kears. I'm 30 years old. I'm from Regina, Saskatchewan. I decided to participate in the Unravel Monologue Slam Competition as I was sent the opportunity from my mentor, friend, fellow creator, and artist, my Auntie Chris. She's been an integral part of helping me find my voice over these past couple years. And I think that I have a unique voice and perspective to offer on what it means to be a young Jewish woman. I hope you enjoy. Black and Jewish? Could it be? I grew up thinking I was an anomaly, especially when I arrived at Camp BB. They were shocked. But you're black and Jewish? Fanny, you gotta walk us through this. All right, here's the sitch. Ma's maiden name? It's Moscovich. Clarity growing. She procreated with a black guy, and that's how I came to life. Understanding, showing. And then people would always say, "Oh, I didn't mean to sound foolish. I just didn't realize you could be both black and Jewish." Now, as a kid, that caused me a lot of confusion as to how so many people drew that conclusion. Because our dinner table, my childhood foundation, was what Zeta and Bobby called the United Nations. So there's me, obviously, 3 Sikh cousins, and 2 cousins whose mom is from Italy. All of us kids heard it continually. It doesn't matter your differences. We're family. Sometimes it's hard to remember that table. The world, it's tried to put on so many labels. It's asked me to choose. Well, which team are you playing for? Is it for the blacks or the Jews? And for quite a long time, I didn't feel like I could celebrate either of my bloodlines. Too Jewish to be black and too black to be Jewish. It created dark thoughts I'd never be able to flourish. But then I traversed Israel and I met Black Jews from Eritrea. That feeling of seeing similarity, a God-given mitzvah. And when I trekked Kilimanjaro, I thought of the Jews' exodus from Egypt. And I knew that embracing the duality of my identity had to become part of my script. Now, for some people who might be a little bit more conservative, who worry about the diaspora and how to preserve it, please don't think that other mixed-ish Jews who look like me Jews that are Black or brown or Asian, Jews with diversity, won't use the clout of what both our races are about to create a more peaceful world. Because Jews who look like me, diverse and well-versed culturally, will be the revolution, are the evolution to creating a solution of how to create unity and community and safe space for every race. While I can't wear my Judaism on my skin, much like my rich melanin, my Judaism, it lives deep in my soul. It's the voice that speaks to me when I release all control. The voice that is attuned to pain, but also the voice that shows me life's beautiful miracles so that they are not in vain. I'm ever exploring, always imploring the strength and resilience of my ancestors in all the endeavors of the duality of my identity. So, I'm not sure how I did at walking you through this, but my drive, my hunger, my pride, it comes from falling in love with being both Black and Jewish. Thank you.
If you were ever in a grade school or a high school play, you can still probably recall most of the words that you spoke or the lyrics to the songs that you sang. You will certainly remember how getting up in front of the audience felt and the friendships formed with fellow castmates. You may have been nervous or shy, or perhaps you learned that you loved being in front of an audience. If you were lucky enough to attend a live professional theater performance as a child, I'm sure that that made an impact on you too. This is the beauty of theater. It feeds the mind and the soul. It's a vehicle for creating memories and stirring the emotions. So theater makers do important work, creating pieces that could elicit joy, give solace, teach, and of course entertain. Theater builds bridges between cultures, and the arts in general are a fundamental component of a healthy community, strengthening them socially and economically. Benefits that persist even in difficult social and economic times like these. Jewish theater offers our own community a cultural history filled with stories that resonate, teach, and bring comfort. Touchpoints are often humor, a bit of tragedy, a love of the intellectual and the idealistic, from everyday life to the grandest notions of human justice, goodness, and righteousness. Mysticism and magic, sometimes in the form of a dybbuk or a spirit, and old traditions, which are sometimes argued and discussed. But Jewish ideas are also about how we live today, how the mass of life lessons gained through hard-fought experience can teach us how to live now. And so with this in mind, I felt a need to help the Harold Green Jewish Theater reach out to future audiences and creators by endowing the New Emerging Artists Initiative. This will help the next generation tell their own stories, which may pay homage to the past, but which will also take big strides toward a new world, navigating it in their own way and devising narratives which will become the lessons and memories of those who come after. Please think about supporting the Emerging Artists Initiative as an investment in the future of the Harold Green Jewish Theater and the stories, songs, and productions which will not only enrich the lives of your children and grandchildren, but will find a place in their memories and hearts for years to come.
Hi, my name is Rachel Manson. I'm 5'7.5" and I'm auditioning for the role of woman with IBS. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, and the reason I submitted to Unravel was because I wanted to make people, specifically young women, feel a little less alone and maybe instill some change. Enjoy. I've been having dreams of my Zadie recently. He was singing in a theater troupe, which is so out of character it makes me certain that this is just my psyche playing Boggle with my frozen arts career. but it's starting to feel like a taunt. It's as if he knows I'm in the midst of an identity crisis that far surpasses spirited Talmudic debate. The voices toying with my doubt came to a head when I was recently asked to speak on a panel for a large Zoom event called The History of the Jewish Jester. I'm a full-time comedy writer and stand-up comedian. I've done comedy shows everywhere from a basement in St. Catharines with 3 guys named Dave to a 300-person theater in Chicago. Throughout the years, I began to steer clear of Jewish comedy events. Cue the whispers, oh my god, is she one of those self-hating millennial Jews? Doesn't she know we invented comedy? It's not the affiliation with religiosity that deters me. Oish, Baruch Hashem, I thought this one was an atheist. A year ago, I was asked to participate in a Jewish comedy competition. I held my breath as I scrolled through the email to see who I was competing with. My fellow participants were a laundry list of comedians who had been banned from other comedy spaces in Toronto for sexual assault, rape, harassment, and racist hate speech. One of the judges of this competition was a comedy booker who had notoriously created an open space for Hollywood comedians who had fallen from grace because of accusations under the Me Too movement. I told the organizers of these heroes of comedy, and they apologized and promptly asked me, do you know any other Jewish female comedians we can use to replace you? Looks like the reign of problematic bar mitzvah boys was not over yet. This has happened with every Jewish comedy show I have ever been booked on. I am often one of the only women there who are tasked with inadvertently undercutting her competitor's misogyny and thriving while actively trying not to get harassed by these prolific shadows. These shows are filled with Jewish men who love to preach the good word of the holy Jewish comedians before them, the Lenny Bruces, the Jewish jesters, who have built legacies on sticking it to the man, and yet they delightfully shout vitriol at people who are not their own because it's all fair game for comedy. More than fair game, it's part of our Catskill legacy. So what then does a Jewish jester make? Apparently it's a voice that speaks out against injustice unless some of us feel it in our own community. It's a spotlight on hypocrisy, but one that never turns to face a mirror because it may genuinely blind us. Maybe we brag about how much we love to ask questions more than we like actually hearing them. I suddenly remembered getting kicked out of rabbinics class for debating the validity of dating a non-Jew. I could hear the only out gay teenager in my high school slam the door of our Tanakh class after being told, it's not like it's bad to be gay in Judaism, you just will never be able to fulfill any mitzvot. I heard the echoing of my teachers and religious leaders proselytizing, exemplifying the Jewish moral code, but I watched Donald Trump spew white supremacist fear-mongering at the Republican Jewish Coalition last year to rigorous laughter and applause. We all know that I could go on. I feel like I've been gaslit by the community that raised me. What do I do with this? I've been told the answer before. Don't talk about it. Denouncing us is to demonize us, and it feeds the flames that have already been ignited. They are waiting for an opportunity to push us into the fire, so do not be the reason that we burn. But I can't help but think, if we continue to feel like we are exempt from looking into any mirrors at all, I and many other young Jews who were born with mirrors in our hands may not stick around long enough to see what happens next. I've been digging through my Zadie's old boxes again. After the Holocaust, in 1940s Poland, my Zadie moved across the world and fell in love with an outspoken, non-Jewish woman in Canada. Maybe he would have gotten kicked out of rabbinics class too.
Hi, my name is Becca Willow Moss, and I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I applied to Unravel because my Jewish identity is at the core of my artistry and at the core of everything I do. As I unravel my family's history, it's entwined with my artistic inspiration. Thank you for your consideration. Going to Jewish day school, you have 2 options. Treat the Bible as your guidebook or treat the Bible as your storybook. I like stories, the ones we tell ourselves about ourselves, the ones we tell others for others. But when your West Side Story is west of Bathurst Street and your feet are laced with agates of guilt, fabrics built upon generations of it, generations of a nation known for complaining, you can fear gaining and feel invalid. Salad not offered at family meals. You are blessed with borscht, babka, and latkes, dafka. Even Kafka would have said, eat. Stand on those feet, those ones in tap shoes on the west side. Open wide, chew the gefilte fish. Try this new dish, wish it wasn't lumpy. Your religious cousins are dressed so frumpy, frowning as your collarbones protrude.
You're rude for refusing potatoes because in Russia, that's all we had. But you hate them so bad. Boiled, buttered, battered, and mashed. You're forced to think of the ash, the rubble, the multi-generational salt on your plate, in your eye, in this pigsty, unforgiving, the semi-functional state of living. But years ago, I went to my doctor, sad, scared, unprepared. I was sleeping too little, weeping too much, seeping love, reaping a hole in my heart. Literally, I had a cardiac MRI and they found a hole in my heart. Fuck, where to start? It's fine, I didn't need surgery, but that kind of sums up my life. I have a hole that can't be patched up. I have a medical condition that can't be fixed. I'm just a mixed bag of tricks. I'm that girl with an eating disorder who can't go to treatment because no, Aunt Cheryl, she's not anorexic. Her life is just hectic. She's just nervous around food. And no, Uncle Howard, IBS is common. Kidney stones? More like the Rolling Stones, am I right? My bowels, ooh, I can howl about the many times they told me to gain, to lose, to refuse to open up about what was on my plate, who was my date, what gender, what race. Well, it isn't your place, you extended family I never see, to sit on your cushioned asses thinking you're better than me. I don't want to be a bystander in my own life. Well, if there's a casting call out and you're a little too stout, bitch, I'm a zero and I'm my own hero. And if nobody cares, I'm taking the stairs. They say 10,000 steps a day. I'll find my own way to be the talk of the town, turn that frown upside down. We've covered real ground, and I can't even be sure who I've been speaking for. Is it you? Is it me? Do you find me a bore? Can you clap? Can you see? Do you need glasses to fill that gap, or is there no prescription that'll show you I'm having a conniption because I'm screaming and no one's listening?
Hi there, my name's Adina Samuels. I'm in Toronto and I'm thrilled to be one of the finalists for Unravel this year. A little bit about me, I have a master's degree in English literature and I currently work at a local nonprofit and a little French bakery downtown. I'd love to read and write and I'm really excited for you all to take a look at my submission. Thanks so much. My Jewish identity is the gold chai that tickles my freckly skin in line with my collarbone. The one that used to swing just into my line of vision every time I bowed down in morning prayer. The one that now I only see when I descend into downward dog. My Jewish identity is toggling with the religion filter on Hinge. Deal breaker. Yes. Deal breaker. No. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. No. It's the return to swiping through slim pickings of circumcised men I've swiped through before. My Jewish identity is making ham and cheese sandwiches for customers at the bakery, but washing the knife after I've sliced through the dairy so as not to mix meat and milk. It's hearing Hebrew and praying that the elderly couple will choose the chicken sandwich instead. My Jewish identity is remembering when my grade 8 teacher threatened that my children would die before me if I turned on a light on Saturday every time that I do. It's knowing the difference between a tichel and a fall, a shetel and a mitpachat, and vowing to never ever cover my hair. My Jewish identity is the 15 years I spent paying to learn that the Jewish people are pioneers and the Arabs are not in the picture nor in the curriculum. My Jewish identity is the glass mezuzah my mother painted that sits on the wall of my new home. It's my grandmother telling me to talk to God. It's desperate faith in an explanation for suffering that I can't come to on my own. My Jewish identity is a liberation from the chains of observance. My Jewish identity is piercing the soapy bubble I was in with a gleaming silver pin. My Jewish identity is my living and breathing chai.
Hey there, my name is Stephanie Zeit. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I'm participating in the Unravel Monologue Slam. I'm very excited for you to see my piece. I applied to Unravel because I do not have a lot of experience writing, but when I saw this prompt, I had a lot of funny thoughts come up, and I really wanted to share them. So I really hope you enjoy, and thank you so much. Today I turned 13 years old. I have been waiting for this day all my life. I walked on this stage a child, and I will leave it a woman. Anyway, thank you all for being here. So birthright is bad, in case you don't know. I'm not going to go. Well, my family did already go to Israel for my sister's bat mitzvah, but I was just 3 turning 4 at the time, so really I was a different person then. I'm so sorry. I'm here to talk to you all today about the red heifer from the Torah. Well, I did actually talk about it already, but that was in Hebrew, so some of you may not have got it. Well, I've been told I'm really good with languages. So for those of you who do not know, in the book of Numbers it is written that any Israelite who has come into contact with the body of a corpse must purify themselves in clean water mixed with the ashes of a pure red, unyoked cow. And thank you to my dad for helping me with the Wikipedia because it was very confusingly written. And thank you, Rabbi Tina, for inviting me into your office to talk. I didn't really know what you were saying, but you have a really nice presence, and I felt really spiritually cared for. Well, actually, we were 2 Jewish women meeting to discuss a red cow. A woman cow. I don't have my period yet, but I check every day because I know it's coming. Well, it's just that I connect to the red heifer because it is so special and rare, and this is a special time in my life. And you can tell something is special when only a few of them have ever existed. For example, well, celebrities or the Jewish people. And I know Jewish people are very special indeed because my family actually hardly knows any at all. Not even enough to hold a party for this coming of age, so instead we're going to Great Wolf Lodge. Well, as per hotel policy, my parents will have to be there, but it is really more of a women's trip because I've matured. I remember earlier this year, I was in a change room and I was holding this towel over my breasts and, Arcady, you said, "Are you masturbating?" I know, and at the time I thought, am I? And now I know I was not. And it's hard to think back on the realities of childhood. So now that I'm a Jewish woman, I'm going to grow into my specialness just like the red heifer. Women are so beautiful, they stand out. And now it's my turn as my body begins to catch up with my mind. This is a big day, don't you see? Shit. No, it's okay. I can say that now. I'm one of you. Wait, Dad, please, just a minute. Why are you all sitting there like I'm some 12-year-old? I'm a woman now, today, right now, hello? It isn't supposed to feel like this. Whatever. Like the red heifer, I have important work to do.
I'm Ellie Barlin-Daniels in Toronto.
Hi, I'm Jamie Ellman in Los Angeles.
I'm Ari Weinberg in Winnipeg.
Hi, I'm Rachel Dratch in New York.
We nailed it. We totally nailed it, guys. That was great.
I'm hearing that there's nothing beyond that makes me go like, yes, I see your identity. I see you.
I appreciated the craftsmanship of it. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And also, we're looking at the matrix of the performance versus the writing.
No, you'll be Adam Levine and I'll be Gwen Stefani.
Oh, perfect. Yes.
I'll be Betty White. I'll be Betty White.
And I'll be Maury Amsterdam.
It really is such a tough decision.
Yeah,
they
right.
are also very good.
Yes, a lot of talent, a lot of skilled up and coming writers. I think in particular, that Canada has to look forward to.
Bravery as well.
Mm-hmm.
As we grow, it's integral to our growth that we're represented by artists who are of this demographic, who have something to offer and have something to say.
What was beautiful when we met with all the contestants was they all, to different degrees, having felt accepted and felt seen in this Zoom room of other Jewish creators.
It was very heartfelt. It was very warm. It was very open. It was really lovely. There was an instant community of these 10. It was lovely to see.
I wrote one. I thought that was a requisite, so I did write one. It's not 4 minutes.
I loved how it sort of brought up some things that have been on my mind a lot lately about, like, you know, how does Judaism relate to my current life versus old traditions or things about it that I don't really understand or that I don't quite relate to. So that one really spoke to me.
That resonates with me as well, this idea of carrying forth traditions and memories, and I feel like that's a very grounded Jewish thing. But what I also thought was interesting about the selection of pieces as well was how each of these individuals seem to be struggling or coming up against that in different ways, and what happens when you don't agree with traditions or when you don't remember you don't remember your past.
You know, I have a kid now, and I'm like trying to raise him Jewish, but I'm realizing how little I know when I try to tell him what Judaism is. Like, I feel like, wait, I did all these years of Hebrew school, and I like we were doing Hanukkah, and I was like, now we're gonna say a blessing. And he's like, well, what's a blessing? And I was like, a blessing is like, you know, because I'm not a big God person, so like, what is, well, it's a ritual, and like when it's, why are we doing this? Like, because our ancestors did.
It was interesting though to still go like, oh, I see myself, and I have had that experience, or I've had not that, but there was like an interconnectivity and that Jewish geography that we always play when we meet other Jews. We didn't do that here, but yet there was something about each person that I did connect to, and that I was like, oh, we are tethered to one another. There is that connectivity between us.
What I found really compelling about it was just how different everyone's piece was, and how varied, not only in subject matter, but like performance, and you know, some people took it as more poetic, and some people took it more literally, and some people did more like they're in a scene, and other people were like doing stand-up. So it was like, I really enjoyed how everyone was so different from each other.
What I love about these people now, this youth now, or what these monologues now, that they had the ability to stand outside themselves and look in. I don't think I had that at that age. I wasn't given the opportunity at that age. So that's what I loved about these. And I think that's integral to Judaism also. You know, being able to question ourselves and to look into ourselves and ask why.
I guess the top 3 that we've discussed works more strongly. Yeah.
I think those are really great choices, and I think it's great. Those are 3 great choices to put forward to our audience.
Okay, now it is my honor to present the 3 finalists for the Unravel competition. They are, in no particular order, Jenna Barenbaum, Fanny Kearse, and Ori Black. Congratulations, you 3, and now it is up to the voting audience to pick the winner. Good luck.
Amazing. Thank you so much to everyone who participated and to our wonderful judges. Next, we turn it over to you, our audience, to vote upon the winners of the competition.
The final 3 videos will be posted on the Harold Green Jewish Theater Company website tomorrow morning. Check it out to rewatch the finalists and cast your vote. Voting will remain open until 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, May 25th, and our winners will be announced in a live broadcast on May 26th.
And again, we thank all of you for joining us tonight for Unravel, a virtual monologue slam competition, the inaugural event of the Barlin-Daniels Emerging Artists Initiative.
Stay safe and good night.